What's going on, guys? It's Juice Audio, and today I'm reviewing what might be my favorite mic ever made. I've literally sold all my other mics because this mic for me does everything I needed to do. As you saw in the intro, I've taken this mic through everything. I've taken it through podcasts, I've taken it through live recordings on stage, I've taken it through the studio sessions, I've taken it through even a live orchestra recording. And there's so many use cases for this mic, and it just fits in everything I needed to do. So I'm gonna be showing you guys a bunch of examples today, and we'll talk about this mic, the costs, the benefits, the pros and cons. So let's get right into it. So starting with a quick unboxing. In the box, you're gonna get the microphone, a standard mount, a shock mount, and a pop filter. And I will say this carrying case is super rugged and durable. All right, so let's start out this review with a live performance of my friend Yanni. This guy is super talented in Sacramento. This is an acoustic set we did on stage here at the theater. If you didn't know, I'm at the top floor of a theater right now in the old projector room where we built a studio. So down on the stage, we recorded this acoustic set and we used this Lauten audio mic. Let's take a listen real quick.
And I get critical, baby, when you ain't speaking my language. And I'm so tired of waiting. I go through physical. I only miss you when you're not here. A different person lives in my head. I only miss you when you're not here. You're really different inside my head. I only miss you when you're not here, yeah. A different person lives in my head. I only miss you when you're not here. A different version lives in my head. I only miss you when I only miss you when Cool.
So for context of this recording, we're in a pretty large venue with a lot of brick wall reflections, so not treated at all, but this mic held its own and it gave you that airy condenser sound that sounded amazing straight out with no EQ or nothing. My friend who's mixing it, he was super surprised. He's like, with no EQ, this mic sounds super crispy and detailed. And that's the best thing I love about this mic, is because for its form factor, you get the best quality and sound you can. Before we continue, let's get a quick shout out from today's sponsor. And a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Front End Audio. If you're into music production, audio engineering, or just love great gear, these guys are working professionals who understand the gear they are selling. They'll help you pick the right mic for your voice or the best interface for your setup, saving you valuable time of trial and error. From budget gear to boutique hardware, they have everything. Microphones, interfaces, studio monitors to all the cables and accessories you need. Plus, they have free shipping if you spend over $99. This Lauten Audio Ls-208 is available to order, and the link is in the description. So once again, shout out to Front End Audio for supporting the channel. Let's get back to the review. So moving on to the next thing, you guys might be buying this mic for podcasting as well. It is a direct competitor to the Shure SM7B. I have the Shure SM7B too as well. We'll compare these later, but let's just talk about this in a podcast situation. And let me just say, this mic cannot be beat in a podcast situation. The vocals sounded insanely clear. Like they sounded like you're talking into a $3,000 mic, but it's just sitting there on your desk. So let's watch this real quick.
Are we going to highlight that you have two different coffees?
No, because it's a side shot.
We'll see.
And then when I do this. All right, we're rocking.
Let's roll.
All right, welcome to the Cam and Joe Show. My name is Joe with my good buddy Cameron.
What's up, big dog?
You know, man, it's been great.
Happy Thursday.
I know, man. Okay, so before we continue, like, subscribe, hit the bell. We're going to be talking about some heavy topics today. Some heavy stuff has happened in the country.
Yes,
heavy
it
stuff's
has.
happening in Cali. I'd like to make it a light and airy, but I feel like if we don't talk about it, we're going to be like, why don't we talk about it?
Yeah, I agree. Missed opportunity.
So what are we supposed to not be talking about, Cameron?
What are we not supposed to be talking about? I don't know. I think what's on every...
So as you can hear from that video, you get the rich sound of a condenser in the broadcast form. There's very minimal bleed. And let me tell you, the high end on these mics is just like, you can boost the crap out of the high end and it will never hurt your ears. It just has that very saturated and very like crispy and clean high end. And that's really how you tell a cheap mic from an expensive mic, is when you start boosting things and start moving things around with EQ, it starts to fall apart. But with this mic, when you boost it high end, you can literally just keep boosting it and it sounds great. So moving on to the next demo I have for you guys. It was a live orchestra performance that was out by the water. And I had these mics with me, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use these today. I use some Lauten audio pencil mics. I use a ton of mics. It was like 32 channels of open mics in this recording. If you guys didn't know, I'm a live audio engineer as well. I mixed a ton of shows. And I love doing orchestras and recording them and mixing them after the fact, just for practice. So when setting these up on these upright violins or cellos, I don't even know what they're called, dude, to be honest. But as you know, this kind of performance is extremely hard to manage, but I didn't have any bleed, I didn't have any feedback, so I'm happy with what these mics put out. So I've also used this mic on a ton of beats. I've used it on instruments from piano to drums, to bongos, to shakers, basically everything you could throw at it, and it sounded great. I had no other reason to bring out any other mics because this did it all for me. I've also done a ton of vocals. If you want to watch this comparison with Key, he shot out like a $4,000 mic, or Chandler Red, versus this mic with a nice preamp. So if you want to watch that, click right here above. If you haven't seen Key on my channel, this guy has a huge mic collection of the best mics you can buy. And he loves this mic. He has it for himself and he travels with it. So let's hear what he has to say about it.
What's good, Juice Audio fam? It's Key tuning in from the brand new space, which y'all should get to see soon enough. So sound-wise, I can't complain. It's a condenser, but it fits the role of a lot of popular dynamic microphones while arguably doing it the best. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I really do like this microphone for a number of reasons. The utility, the price, and of course the sound. I have microphones in my locker worth, 5-10 times the price of this microphone, but it still holds its own and it definitely has a place in my collection. So
okay, now let's get down to the details about this mic. So starting with the price, it is $600. That is a lot of money. I know it's a lot of money. All right. You're going to say the Shure SM7B is $400, which is true. But I will say I own the Shure SM7B, and you do require a cloud lifter with that mic if you don't have a really, really clean preamp. So if you buy a cloud lifter with the SM7B, you're at $600. So you can weigh those costs right there. So with the costs out of the way, let's talk about the sound quality, what I think about this microphone. This mic sounds very expensive. I've used a ton of mics and owned a ton of mics. And let me just say, this mic stands against all of them. And it has a form factor that you can use it practically anywhere. I've used the Manleys, I've used the 800Gs, and they all have their sound and preference. But sometimes a mic's functionality makes it even more usable, and just because you can use it more, it makes it more valuable to you. So that is this mic for me. It's a solid state mic. It has a transformer in it, and it's just so usable with everything I do. It's almost like if I want to pick up a dynamic, I know I'm going to be losing so much quality, and sometimes I don't want to do that. The frequency of this mic is slightly boosted at the top end, but is not sibilant at all. And like I mentioned earlier, that's what you can tell a cheap mic from an expensive mic, is with that top end sheen and sparkle. This mic is also very functional in a way that it has a couple of options here, a low pass and a high pass that I found very useful. Now let's get to the only complaints I have about this mic. So to use this mic, you do need a pretty clean preamp. Like I have this mic on a UAD right now at about 3 o'clock, and I have an Audient at home, and that runs about 3 o'clock, so pretty much 75% of the preamp. And some people might say that's pretty hot. That is pretty hot, but in order to get this much dynamic range where you can play snares through this and not have it blow out, and also pick up the low level details, you're gonna have to have a lot of gain for that. And that's what I found with a lot of mics that have a lot of dynamic range capability, is that they require high gain, just like the SM7B. The only other thing I didn't like about this mic is that the pop filter was a little bit cheap feeling. It definitely still picked up a lot of pops. As you can see in those live videos earlier, we had an actual pop filter in front of that because I did not want any pops in that recording. I did not want it to mess up just in case. I went out and bought this other one right here. It was like $30, and it's a great investment, honestly. But overall, to sum it up, guys, you've seen this mic on my channel throughout the years. I'm going to continue to use this mic because, honestly, I literally have no need for another mic. That's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.